The sun was just starting to rise over the airport. It was quiet, peaceful, and cold. Inside the terminal, Ibrahim Traore waited calmly near gate 37. He didn't wear a suit. He didn't have bodyguards. He didn't carry anything flashy. To most people, he looked like just another African traveler, but this man was not ordinary. He was Ibrahim Traoré, the President of Burkina Faso. He preferred to travel like this, humble, private, and quiet. No cameras, no loud announcements. That's how he moved. He believed in being with the people, blending in, staying grounded. His return from a diplomatic meeting in Europe was no different. He had finished important talks, discussing matters of gold, sovereignty, and Africa's future. But now, all he wanted was to get home. As he walked toward the Air France flight bound for Ouagadougou, he greeted one of the airport workers in French with a warm smile. "Bonjour, CVA," the worker smiled back, unaware of who he truly was. That's how Traoré liked it. He boarded the plane quietly, nodded politely at the flight crew, and took his seat in business class, row 2A, near the window. No one noticed. No one cared. Or so he thought. A few rows behind, whispers were already starting. A senior French businessman, the CEO of a major energy company, was also heading to Burkina Faso. He was used to VIP treatment, red carpets, champagne, and first-class everything. But when he arrived at the gate, the airline told him business class was full. The CEO wasn't happy. He didn't accept no. That's when the drama began to build, quietly at first. Just a small demand that would soon become a storm. "I'm a strategic partner in many African projects," he said arrogantly, tapping his polished shoes impatiently. To him, that meant rules didn't apply. He demanded an immediate upgrade. The gate agents scrambled, whispered, and checked their tablets. But the truth was simple: business class was full. Still, the CEO insisted. That's when the airline called over a senior flight attendant. She was tall, white, and dressed in an Air France uniform. Her name was Claire. She wore a cold, forced smile as she stepped onto the plane to fix the situation. Once inside, Claire scanned the cabin with sharp eyes, like she was hunting for someone. Her eyes paused when she saw a dark-skinned man in seat 2A. Ibrahim Traoré sat quietly, reading on his phone. Calm as always, she looked again. No expensive watch, no assistant, no sign of power. Just a black man in a hoodie. She leaned toward another attendant and whispered. "Probably a mistake." She walked over to him, forced a smile, and said politely but firmly, "Monsieur, may I see your boarding pass?" Traoré looked up, nodded, and handed it to her. She stared at the pass. The seat number was correct. But in her eyes, he didn't look like someone who belonged there. Moments later, she returned with a fake smile, this time more direct. "Sir, I'm sorry, but we may need to move you to accommodate another passenger. Would you mind relocating to economy? We will compensate you." There it was, the insult. Quiet but sharp, Ibrahim Traoré raised an eyebrow. "And why me?" he asked calmly. "No reason, sir," she replied, "just a small adjustment for our guest." "A guest more important than me?" Claire didn't answer. She only smiled. Other passengers glanced over, sensing something wrong. But no one said a word. Traoré just sat back and said calmly, "No. I will remain in my seat." Claire was stunned. A man like him saying no to her. She wasn't used to that, especially not from an African passenger. Her pride was bruised. "Sir, I insist. This is for operational reasons," she said, colder now, but Traoré didn't flinch. "If it's operational, then please explain why I'm being asked and not anyone else." Claire hesitated. She wasn't prepared for this kind of calm resistance. Around them, passengers were now fully alert. A man lowered his newspaper. A woman stopped typing on her laptop. Claire walked quickly to the cockpit, whispered something to the captain, then returned with a decision. But she didn't confront Traoré again. Instead, she approached another black man in business class. Then another. She was clearly targeting only passengers who looked like they didn't belong. That was her second mistake. Traoré sat silently and watched. His face expressionless. His mind sharp. He was observing. Calculating. The humiliation didn't anger him. It focused him, a young African man. Maybe in his late 20s, looked confused as Claire now pointed at his seat. "You, sir, we need you to move to economy." "Why me?" he asked. Claire didn't answer. She only took his boarding pass. That's when Traoré stood up. "Enough," he said, his voice calm but heavy with authority. "You are making decisions based on skin, not tickets. That's called discrimination." Claire turned, a bit shaken. "Sir, I'll have to ask you to sit down. Please don't cause a scene." Traoré looked her straight in the eye. For a second, her breath caught. His stare was steady, fearless, powerful. But she still didn't know who he really was. To her, he was just another passenger acting like a troublemaker. She walked off again, fuming inside. "These people," she muttered in French, "always making noise." The CEO was finally brought on board. Claire greeted him with extra politeness, offering him a glass of champagne. "We're fixing the seating issue, monsieur," she said. Meanwhile, Traoré sat back down, calm. He didn't say a word. He didn't reveal his identity. He didn't need to, because soon, the entire world would know what had just happened. And who exactly had been insulted. The CEO walked past him, didn't even glance his way, and settled into business class like a king. Claire pampered him, adjusting his seat, offering warm towels and champagne. The message was clear: you matter. That man does not. The plane taxied down the runway and took off into the sky. Leaving behind French soil, but carrying with it a moment that would soon shake two nations. Inside the cabin, everything looked normal. But beneath the surface, something powerful was growing, an invisible storm. Traoré remained calm. He didn't complain. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't reveal who he was. He just sat quietly, like a man watching a movie unfold, knowing exactly how it would end. Mid-flight, Claire returned to his seat with a forced grin. "Would you like anything to drink, sir?" "Water is fine." She nodded quickly and walked away. No apology. No courtesy. No respect. The CEO, on the other hand, was treated like a celebrity. Claire laughed at his jokes, leaned in when he spoke, and asked about his important projects in Africa. He replied arrogantly, "Burkina Faso is lucky to have us. We're bringing order to chaos." Claire nodded in agreement, completely unaware that the very man he was insulting was sitting just 2 rows away. One African woman in the cabin, a nurse returning to Bobo Dioulasso, noticed everything. She whispered to her neighbor, "That's our president. They don't even know who they're humiliating." Her neighbor's eyes widened in disbelief, but they said nothing. The president didn't want attention. And no one wanted to break the silence. Hours passed. The lights dimmed. Most passengers slept. But Ibrahim Traoré remained awake, looking out the window at the clouds. He wasn't angry. He was patient. And when the wheels touched the ground in Ouagadougou, that patience would become history.